Hi! Today I thought I'd talk a bit about starting your story, just making the actual opening of your story. I will not be discussing the ending of a story, I'll do that in a different video, just the opening. Because I'm sure you're aware, but in case you're not, the opening of a story is by far the most important part of your story. It's not the ending. People still like Stephen King, and I've heard that a lot of his endings suck. So that's what we're gonna be talking about, how to properly start your story. My dogs are freaking out! Obviously, this is not just the case for novels. This is also for short stories, or TV shows, or movies, or whatever else you're making. It's just all about the hook. That's not it. So the question asked is, how do you write a good story opening? And the answer is actually quite simple. It depends on the story. It really does. Please don't eat my... No, don't do that. With my first novel, Sorry About Me, I started the story with a letter from the main character to another character. Right away, this sets the tone for what happened already beforehand, who the main character is, who his brother is, just from the way he writes about him, and it just sets the tone for the rest of the story, basically. With Not My Dream Diary, which I've got right here, by the way, it releases October 2nd. Please just write it down somewhere so you don't forget. I'm gonna keep repeating it anyway, but just so you know, it releases October 2nd. You should be very excited. It's almost October 2nd. Almost! The opening of that story is very much character exposition. I think that's the right word. I really hope that's the right word. I thought it was really important for the opening to explain how much Charlie loves dreams, for the rest of the story to have some kind of impact, for the rest of the story to make sense. Nay. And besides, the last few lines really set the tone of the book. I'm just gonna ignore them. Basically, she goes, instead, this is a book about how I, Charlie Lorette Hunter, had a dream that completely changed my life. It turned everything upside down and inside out, and it wasn't a good dream, I'm afraid. Far from it. This is the story of how my dream of getting kidnapped by a friend became a reality. I break the fourth wall in that book, and there's a good reason for it, and I think that because of that, that first chapter has so much more impact on the reader, and it's super exciting. But that doesn't answer the question on how to actually write a good opening for your story. Overall, it really depends on the kind of story you're trying to tell. Some of them start with dialogue, some of them start with action. It really depends on what you want to do. And I understand that that is not a very exciting answer. It's not a very useful answer, but it's true. Just watch any movie, watch any show, or read any book. They all start differently. But it's not about what you see or what you read that makes an opening good. It's about what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to get the audience to understand about your world, about your characters, about your story. What are you doing? Like with a short story that I am yet to release, it's a horror story, and I really wanted the opening sentence to be a piece of dialogue, for it to be an argument between two characters about the thing that is the main scare of the story. It's called The Mosquito Man, and it'll come out eventually. But what I wanted the characters to do was talk about this myth, a story of a man made of mosquitoes, and I wanted it to be a scary story that one character told the other characters, just to give the reader a bit of context and also introduce them to the characters. And with another story that's also a thriller or a horror story in a way, I'm really into writing horror at the moment, I decided to go with a very action-packed intro. The very first line is a character screaming for help in the situation that the main character will find himself in later on in the story. It immediately sets the tone for the story. It immediately shows danger, and if done well, it can already freak out the reader. And that's what you're going for. You want to force a certain emotion on the reader. And maybe you can't always do that in the intro, but you can definitely try. But what I'm currently saying is obviously the intro itself, the intro as a whole. It could be a first chapter, it could be a first paragraph, something like that. But whatever you do, just make sure that it gives the reader, or the viewer for that matter, a reason to stay. Because that is all the opening is for. But if we're gonna be talking about actual opening sentences, I gotta think about that one. and make sure that my dog doesn't eat everything. Oh my god. I hope that was useful somehow, and I hope that you will be asking me more questions as I go on this journey with you, as I'm learning to write, as I'm learning so much about English and storytelling and all that. So thank you all so much for watching. Next time we're going to be talking about how to end a story. Bye.